Welcome to this video session. This is going to be a session on my free guidebook to clear speech. So stay tuned and you'll be learning a valuable technique to help you speak more clearly that you can apply immediately today. So we are here with the guidebook. Let's get started. What is this technique? Okay, how can we implement this? Before I jump in and tell you the name of this technique and how it's useful, I want us to look at this sentence here. Okay, so the question is, does this sentence sound natural if we pause at the red lines? So you see there are two red lines in this sentence. Does it sound natural if we pause at those red lines? I'll let you try first. So I'll give you 20 seconds just to pause, and then I will do the same. So just read it, pause at the red lines, 20 seconds, go. Okay, so by now you should have tried, and do you think it sounded natural? Yes or no? Okay, let me try it as well. Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. Now, did it sound natural? I don't really think so. What about you? Well, if your answer is no, and it should be, I'm going to explain why that's not natural. Okay, so let's move to the next slide where I will explain what thought groups are. That's the concept, thought groups. Okay, so what are thought groups? Why are they important? Okay, what are thought groups? Thought groups is a concept that describes how we organize words into specific ideas when speaking or writing, potentially. So I'm sure that you're aware that sometimes when speaking, we need to take a breath, like where this comma is right here, okay, after the word breath. Okay, so sometimes when speaking, we need to take a breath. This is necessary in any language. However, sometimes we may need to think about where we take that breath. Okay, now, this might be slightly different in other languages, but we all need to take a breath when speaking. That's a universal thing. That's a human thing, okay? If we don't breathe, we die, okay? So we need to take a breath, but the question is where and how, okay? So in English, it is better to take a breath when one idea ends and before another idea starts. So at the boundary between the end of one idea and the start of another idea. If we pause to breathe in the wrong area, we may mix the wrong ideas together, and this may cause confusion. It might not sound natural. Just like the sentence before, when we paused in this way. Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. Didn't really feel right, did it? You know, the ideas weren't quite right. You know, the right words weren't together. So this is what we're trying to determine, okay? Now, it is the case that a lot of you will do this naturally, okay? And you will do this naturally in many areas, but how can we use this to improve our pronunciation? That's the question for today. Sounding more natural, okay? How can we use pausing to sound more natural, okay? So we saw some incorrect pauses before on the first slide. Now here there are no pauses. So what happens when I read this without pausing? Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. You try the same. Read it without pausing. I'll give you 20 seconds again. Okay, that's probably long enough. Now, did you feel like it was too much? That you were trying to squash too many words, too many ideas together in one continuous sentence? If you felt like it's too much, you're correct. It is too much. we need to pause somewhere. The question is where. So where should we pause in the sentence above? I want you to think first, decide on a place to pause, and then read out loud. So put your pause in the sentence mentally where you think it should be, and then read, and then obviously stop, pause when you get to your imaginary line, and then continue reading, and then pause again if you need to. Okay, so I want you to think first, decide on a place, and read out loud. I'm going to give you 20 seconds again for that. So decide on a place and read it out loud. Okay, that should be enough time. So the question is this. Did it sound natural in the places that you paused? Was it easy to read? And were the ideas organized correctly and clearly? What do you think? Hopefully you're going to say yes. If you're not sure, don't worry. In the next slide, we're going to reveal the secret or the answers. Okay, let's move on. Where to pause, okay? Now, did your pauses look something like this? Hopefully they did. Okay, now, one thing I will say first, it is true that with thought groups, there is not one correct way to pause, okay? There are different ways to pause, okay? But there are better places than others, okay? So there's not one correct way, but there are better places than others. The pauses in the sentence above show the best place to take a breath in a way that clearly defines the ideas in the sentence. Okay, so the pauses in this sentence separate the ideas in a very clear, organized way. Okay, let me show you. Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. Now, hopefully, you can also hear that those pauses feel natural. It feels like it flows in the right way, okay? Hopefully your pauses were the same, okay? So what are those ideas? How have those ideas been defined? Well, we can split it into 3 ideas, right? Tom had taken the bus. This is the actor, Tom, and the action, okay? The movement, the traveling on the bus. So the first idea is the action and the actor, perhaps. Idea 2 is, again, very simple. It is the starting point, okay? And idea 3 is the destination. So we've got starting point from his home in London and destination to his local football club. Oh, there are some important tips that I just want to make you aware of. The first one is that we often pause before conjunctions such as and, so, and but not always. So think carefully. All right. So we often pause before and, so, and but maybe not always. Think carefully. You have to use your intuition to some extent here. Okay. And the next point is don't pause too much. Okay, it may sound robotic. Okay, it may sound like your speech is too choppy, right? But on the other hand, pausing too little will not allow our ideas to be clear. Okay, in the case that Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club, it's too much, right? One, I can't breathe, or I have to take a big, awkward breath at the end. And the second point is everything is squashed together, okay? It doesn't help it to be clear. So think carefully. Now, as I say here, to summarize, we pause at the boundary between 2 complete ideas, okay? Just like the example below. Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. So the question is, why are thought groups important? How can they help us to communicate better? Okay, here's some very important reasons. There may be more reasons. These are the reasons that I've got today. So the first reason that it's extremely important is that the ideas are clearly defined and separated. Okay, clearly defined and separated. Tom had taken the bus. It's a complete idea. From his home in London, it's a complete idea. To his local football club. 3 complete ideas. Okay, so that's the first reason. Ideas are clear and separated, organized in a logical way. What's the next thing? Pausing helps us to take a breath. Okay, we need to breathe to stay alive, as I said before. We need to take that breath in order to allow us to also speak naturally. Okay, it involves breathing. That's why we have commas when writing in English, right? So that we know how to read, so that we know we can take a breath where the comma is located. Okay. The third reason is also really important. Pausing also gives us half a moment to prepare to say the next thing, right? So we give ourselves just half a second to stay calm and composed in order to say the next point. We don't have to rush into everything without any form of preparation. Think of pauses, it's like you're regulating your speech in a way. It's not too fast, it's not too, it just keeps things clear. All right, and the final point is not about you, okay, it's about the other person. The person that is listening to your speech, your presentation, or who you're having a conversation with. The person listening also has a chance to process ideas and not to lose track of what we are saying. So this is where this technique is really, really useful for public speaking. Okay, if you're giving a presentation anytime soon, take this idea about pausing between ideas and try to apply it to your script. Or if you don't have a script, just think about which areas you could potentially pause, okay? Because this will allow the audience to catch up, okay? If you're, as I said before, if you're squashing too many ideas together in one long continuous sentence or phrase, sometimes it can be too much for people to process. And when they've got to process 4 or 5 things at once, they might forget something. They might not catch everything. So it's very important that you give the audience, the listener, a chance to catch up with you. All right. This here is some practice that you can do at home. This guidebook is available to download as well. So here you have the freedom to apply the thought group's concept to discover for yourself where we can pause naturally in the following passage. So you read through this and you think about where to pause. You add a red line. You can always print this off or use it, or just make a marker. Okay, and yeah, pause where you think you should pause. Okay, so Tom had taken the bus. Pause. I'll give you a little example. Tom had taken the bus from his home in London to his local football club. Now, obviously, we have to pause at a full stop. He had queued up outside the stadium, which was difficult due to his injury. We need to pause somewhere there. The question is where? So this is what you have to think about. Where could you pause to help this be more clear when speaking? Good question. Should it be here? Where's my cursor gone? My cursor has disappeared. Okay, should it be here? He had queued up outside, which was difficult due to his injury. I'm not sure about that. It's not quite clear. Okay, what's another place? So we've established that he had, or pausing here, he had queued up outside the stadium, which was difficult due to his That's not right, no. Let's try after stadium. Let's see. He had queued up outside the stadium, which was difficult due to his injury. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. There may be another place as well. Now, I do know the actual answers to this, where it is best to pause. I'm not going to tell you. It's up to you to work out. So, okay, yeah, that you can practice in your own time at home. As I said, this is a really useful technique for presentations and public speaking. So definitely think about implementing this technique. This has been my free guidebook to clear speech. If you have any questions, send me an email or send me a message on Instagram or wherever, or you can find more information about my services at my website. So I hope this was useful. Please provide me with some feedback as well. Feel free. I'm always looking to improve my materials for you guys. All right. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.